So, reverse thinking. One of the things that I come to, I try to do a lot of reverse thinking these days, because what it seems to make me do is think about what it is I'm actually wanting. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do this, but when I think about where do I actually want to be at the end, it makes me, it makes me really think out the process, and it gets me that spark to begin something. So visualizing is a big thing. When you can see something, if you can see something in your head and write it down, you have no idea how powerful it is to make you really want to actually go out and achieve that. So think about, how would you act if you achieved this? What would you do if you had already achieved whatever you were thinking about? So I'm going to give you guys an example of how I use reverse thinking just this past year. I reverse thunk a triathlon. So here, what happened was, this bald, overweight young man was turning 30 and decided that I'd always wanted to do a triathlon when I was in college, but I never got around to it because I was working, I had school, and now with 2 kids, a wife, and a job, I was nowhere close to being ready to go out for a triathlon. So, but I knew that I could if I really put my mind to it. So what I did was I started waking up 15 minutes early, because I've got kids staying up late. By the time they go to bed, that's all I want to do is go to bed. I'm done. So I started getting up early. I got up 15 minutes early, I started stretching. Well, I don't know if do you guys ever get out and do anything physical? You ever go out and take a walk and you're like, gosh, I feel better now. So after a couple weeks, I was getting up, I was stretching, I was like, I like this, so I stretched it out. I started getting up 30 minutes early. I'd stretch, and then we had an old stationary bike that's been sitting in a closet. I pulled out, and I started riding the bike for about 15 minutes after I'd stretched. Well, this led to where I am today, probably, because I also like to read, and I did not have time to read when I had these kids. So now I'm sitting on a stationary bike, and instead of watching TV, I started reading. Well, now here I am, my mind's going, I'm loving because I'm feeding my mind information, but I'm also riding the bike, and it's feeling great. So at this point, I'm like, oh, I think I might be able to do this. So then I started getting up 45 minutes early, and I'd work out to workout videos, and I'd call Zumba instructors, and they'd cancel on me, so I just had to fall back. I'd have to fall back to my workout videos, but I started doing that. How many of you guys have ever done P90X, or have you seen those infomercials? Yeah. How much do you hate that guy? I mean, he is so annoying. So after you do it a couple times, though, if you hit mute and just play your own music, it's actually a little bit more enjoyable. But man, he drives me crazy. Especially 5 in the morning, that guy. Ugh. Anyway, so I started doing workout videos. Well, then I don't like to run, but I knew that in order to do this, I was going to have to start running. So I got up and I'd start running a mile. Then I worked myself up to 1.5 miles, and then to 2 miles. And now this is not in a week's time. I started waking up early in November. I signed up for my first event on my 30th birthday, which was April 2nd. So from November to April 2nd, I was building myself up to this. We can't think that we can just, you know what, I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to the gym twice. Well, once we go to the gym twice, we're feeling good, but then we're like, I'm not seeing any results. Well, it's because, one of my favorite sayings, I think I actually have it up coming into a scenario. You didn't eat a cookie and become 20 or 50 weights over pound. You can't take a pill and get 20 to 50 pounds. You can't lose that amount of weight. It's the old saying of death by 1,000 cuts. It's having that extra candy bar, or, we're going to go out for ice cream. Treat yourself to ice cream. Don't do it daily. Those small little steps could be what's putting you where you are. And just like those small little steps got you to where you are, you can't just almost cut yourself off cold turkey because it's just too hard. So start stepping yourself back. If you like to go grab a piece of candy, don't say, I can't have any candy anymore. Maybe if you do it 2 times a day, try to only go get candy once a day. Or better yet, don't buy candy and see if you can make it, because you'll probably find out, wow, you know what? I made it through the whole day and I didn't get it, because a lot of times it's just that temptation that it's a habit. I'm going to go to the cabinet and I'm going to grab something. If it's not there, you can't do that. So I signed up, I did my first event, and luckily for me, I actually swam on a swim team for 10 years, so the swimming part did not scare me as much. I know that's what a lot of people are worried about with their triathlon, but the swimming, I actually only swam a couple times, and because I had been doing all this other stuff, it almost felt easy. I loved it. So I signed up for my first triathlon, and on July 26th last year, in the middle of 95-degree heat, I finished my first triathlon, And I was hoping to do it under 2 hours, and I did it in 1 hour and 42 minutes.
Wow.
And so, and I've got to tell you that when I really set out to do this, I can tell you, first I was like, you're crazy. You didn't do it in high school, you did it in college. Why do you really think you can do it now? But I think that it was the fact that I decided I was going to do it, and then I started small. You know, had I not started small, there's no way I would have got up and ran a mile, because by the time I would have got home, one, I would have felt bad because I couldn't run as fast as I used to be able to 10 years ago. And I would have, you know, felt terrible that day. That night my legs would have been sore, and I would have been like, you know what, I just can't do this. But by starting small and building up to it, you know, it was something that culminated. Like I said, I started in November. I didn't run my triathlon until the end of July. So it's not something that's just going to happen overnight. But if you really focus on what you want to achieve, and I can tell you one of the biggest things for me, knowing yourself. I'm a cheap ass, if you guys want to call it that. I don't like to spend money on much of anything. So what I did was 6 weeks before the duathlon that I did in April, which was just running and biking, I paid my $70 entry fee. And you can bet that I was so concerned that I spent $70. I'm going to do that event. So sometimes it's just, you know, find something else in your life that triggers you. You know, one of the other things that I read a lot, how many of you guys watch The Biggest Loser? Yeah. Well, I started this in November. In January, they decided to do a Biggest Loser in our department. And I am a Biggest Loser. I was able to, it wasn't a big thing, but I lost the most weight. So, you know, again, just those small things that help you keep motivated. One of the things that when I watch Biggest Loser that I always take out of it is that if you ever, you know, they always show them working out or, you know, what they're eating. They don't really even focus on the eating so much. They're always just showing about working out, and then it's TV, so there's the drama involved. They want to talk about, you know, they don't like this. But if you ever pay attention, one of the things that I pick out of almost every episode, somebody talks about how they're finally believing in their mind that they can do this. That, you know, they've got a trainer there every day telling them, oh, you know, do this. Well, they'll walk through the motions, but when you really start seeing the light bulb go off, it's when they change their mind. They change their way of thinking. And that's the biggest thing to do is when they start believing they can do it, that's when they really start seeing the progress. So, you know, one of the things that motivated me, I wanted to be healthy for my kids. I also, one of the reasons why I enjoy my job so much is because I do believe childhood obesity is one of our big concerns. I don't believe that the school lunch program has brought childhood obesity is where it is. I don't think the National School Lunch Program can fix the problem that we have. But I do believe it's a small step that can get the ball rolling. And if these kids can be exposed to better nutrition, better physical activities, because it can't just be what you eat. You have to get physical with it as well. And so one of the things that I've always tried to do is lead by example. And so for me it was, how can I go out and, you know, go out to these schools and be like, yep, the kids need to eat healthy, and then I walk in with my McDonald's bag and I'm 50 pounds overweight. It's centered a mixed message, and it's the same things that we do to our kids. We can't tell them to do one thing and do something else. And so I really wanted to lead by example, so that was